Easter Sunday to all your listeners. I hope you're all out on your Easter egg hunts later on today. Sorry, I'm tongue-tied already during this episode. Today I'm joined by the magnificent Miriam Mells, who's kindly decided to come onto the podcast. I know she's a little bit nervous and apprehensive about coming on, but I'm sure hopefully we'll be able to calm them nerves quite early. I was quite keen to get Miriam on. She started an Instagram page earlier in the year from the same year that I did, back at the start of 2023. And it's a really good, insightful little page, and great bit of info filled with positivity and how to have adapt a healthy mindset. But for maybe, obviously, there'll be some of my listeners that aren't aware of who you are, Miriam. Could you just fill us in, start off, maybe just tell us a little bit about yourself and obviously how you came to making Wellness by Miriam?
Yeah, sure. Well, thanks for having me on. Excited to be here. So I started my wellness page, like you said, at the start of 2023. I mainly started it because it was something that I've always kind of wanted to do, like since I started like my gym sort of journey anyway. It was something that I thought about doing. But I guess never had like the confidence or the knowledge, or like never felt like I was in a position where like it felt right to start it. I've always enjoyed like content creating and things. I used to have like a YouTube channel back like a few years ago and stuff, and I was always into like editing videos and like creating content because that was just like a hobby of mine that I always really enjoyed. So that was like veered in like a different direction though. So my wellness account, I wanted to be like based around fitness and the gym and positive mindsets, and like mainly because that was where I was at that time, and like I wanted to track my own progress, I guess, but also if it benefited anybody else or anyone like found it interesting or wanted to follow and support, like that was just a bonus. But yeah, I started my page just after I was in a long-term relationship that ended, and I found it really difficult at the time, and it was like I needed a focus at that time to really put my mind into something and to really like make me feel motivated and get me to a place where I wanted to be, and like felt like I really was working towards something. But yeah, I really enjoy my page. I post on it pretty regularly, and it's probably more like fitness related, but it's also about mindset and about lifestyle, and it's something that I never thought that I would, at this time a couple of years ago, I wasn't really that person, if you want to say. I didn't have these lifestyle habits that I have now, and I feel that now I'm just so much happier and so much more motivated and at a place where like that's my lifestyle, and like I really enjoy it, and I do it because it's something that I love. But yeah, when I first started the gym though, before I started the gym, I knew nothing about fitness at all. I first started I first started going to the gym at the start of 2022, and before that, before I'd ever stepped foot in a gym, I knew nothing. I didn't know anything about fitness. I hadn't really done fitness before. I hadn't been into the gym. I always used to say like that I'll never be a gym person. Like I just didn't really get it. Like I didn't see the attraction. I didn't understand how people enjoyed it. Like genuinely, I was like, I'll that won't be me. And then I started going in the start of 2022. And that, to be honest, the first like 6 months of me going to the gym was just me trying to gain confidence like in the gym and trying to learn like the basic ropes kind of thing. Before, when it was like lockdown and stuff like that back in 2020, I'd tried to do workouts from home. So I tried to do like the YouTube workouts when it was lockdown and things like that. It was very inconsistent though. I never found enjoyment from it because it wasn't a habit of mine that I had already had in my life. So it was like I tried it once, and then I would go like a week without doing it, and I would be like, oh well, that's it done now because I don't like it. And it almost proved my point of well, the gym's not for me, because I tried it and I was like, oh well, I definitely don't enjoy it then because I've done a whole workout and I don't like it. So, but actually it wasn't I wasn't a habit. I didn't properly give it a go. So when I started going in 2022, the first like 6 to 8 months before I started at Sparta was pretty much me getting used to being in the gym, gaining confidence, going to the gym, and my workouts were very inconsistent. I was doing like in the same session, I would be doing like 5 different muscle groups or something like that because I wasn't focused. I didn't really know the basics, which is fine. Like that's absolutely fine for someone that's just starting. And for me, it worked for me because it was all about gaining confidence anyway, and making it part of my lifestyle. Like they were my original goals for starting was to really make it part of my lifestyle, make it a routine, and prove to myself that if I really try at something and I really commit myself to something, that I can make it a success and I'll actually enjoy it. Like I really wanted to prove to myself that I was able to do that. So then I started at Sparta in September 2022. No, yeah, it was, sorry, September 2022 I started at Sparta. And from September to December, I started to sort of get more into a routine. I started to know a bit more about what I enjoyed in the gym. I started getting more of a program sort of put down. And I didn't, even still though, I still wasn't seeing much progress physically because my diet wasn't that different still at that time. I was, can you hear me? Um, like you disappeared.
No.
I can see you now though, and I can hear you.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's us back in. I think basically what's happened there is it's still recording, but don't worry, I can edit this part out. Um, I don't know. It's obviously it's gone up to a certain stage and it's cut off somewhere. That bit's still saved though. Like I
Okay,
say, basically this is joining bit. I'll pull the connection out and then I can just basically just join them together.
that's fine.
I'd gotten up to the bit. uh, you were Sparta at September 2022. This is just the last thing that I'd heard, and you just
Mhm.
joined, and you try to figure
Yes.
things out there. If you'd be able to
Yeah,
start
that's
there
right.
again,
Okay.
fill me in, fill me in on the gaps, please.
Okay. So I started at Sparta in September 2022. So between September 2022 and December of that year, I still hadn't seen much progress with my physical progress. Like I
Mhm.
knew more and I felt more confident, but my diet hadn't really changed much. I wasn't focused on things like protein and what I was actually consuming, and that did affect obviously my training. But at the time, my focus was more just making it part of my routine. But I did get to a
Yeah,
point where when I was at Sparta, I really started to enjoy the gym for the actual exercises that I was doing rather than just trying to figure
yeah,
out what I was doing half the time. Like I started to really find enjoyment at that point. Um, and then December, sort of January time, well, January 2023 was when I really focused on the gym because that was when I was like coming out of this sort of breakup that I was going through, and I found it quite difficult at the
yeah,
time, and I really wanted to like go for it with the gym and really make it like basically I was
yeah,
trying to do anything I could to like make myself not feel the way that I felt because I was like
yeah,
listening
yeah,
to
yeah,
podcasts, funnily enough. I was reading like self-help books. I was like watching YouTube videos of like other people that maybe felt like a similar way and I was like, I'll do anything to make me not feel this way because you kind of have to let
yeah.
yourself feel it at the time. And like if you're going through anything like in life
Mhm.
that's tough, like or anything that like has an effect on you like mentally, it's you don't want to feel that way and you kind of want to get out of feeling like that, but at the same time you kind of have to ride the emotions and let it happen at the same
Yeah,
time. So I
you have to
knew
ride
there
through the
was going to be
storm a
ups
little
and
bit. Yeah,
downs. Yeah, exactly. I knew there was going to be like ups and downs and things, and I knew that maybe that sometimes the gym would really help me, and maybe other times it wouldn't be what I wanted to do, and I didn't have the energy or anything to do it. But actually, it helped me like more than I ever thought it would. Um,
yeah,
that was when I made my wellness account at the start of 2023, and I thought I'm just going to go for it because then I can like hold myself accountable and I can like post my progress and like track my progress, and also if anybody else who was following and like wanted to support that, maybe they either had or felt a similar way or could relate in any way. Basically, any reason that anybody wanted to support that in some way, I was like, that's the bonus. And like that, because I really enjoyed like what helps me when I'm going through something, or like when I need help with something, is watching videos of other people going through the same thing, or getting advice from people
100%.
going through the same thing. Yeah, and it makes you feel like you're not the only one that feels that way, because sometimes you feel like you are. So yeah, I thought I'm gonna just go for it. So 2023, that pretty much that full year was the most progress. Well, the first 6 months, to be honest, was the first progress the most I'd ever made, and since ever going to the gym. I was focused on my protein. I was probably at the start of the year, not purposely in a calorie deficit, but I probably would have been, because of where I was mentally. I was trying to focus on what I was eating. I was trying to make sure I was eating the right things to give me the energy for the gym. But it's hard when you're going through something, or when something's, when your mind's not there, because your appetite can change and that can affect lots of different things. So I found it hard to try and make sure I was like on track with that as well. But with the amount I was training, like 4 or 5 times a week, at that time, I was definitely burning more than I was probably intaking, which was fine for me at the time. Long term, it wouldn't have been beneficial for me, but at the time it was okay, because I was at a weight where like I had weight where I could be lost in a sense, if you know what I mean. Like I wasn't, yeah, I don't know. It worked for me at the time, but then when I got back on track, like mentally and things like that, I was really focused on making sure I was eating the right things, fueling my body with the right amount of food, and bringing my protein back up. And a lot of that came from just, again, like focusing on something and giving myself something to work towards. And I knew that by focusing on fueling my body as well with the right things, and making sure that I had enough energy for the gym and things like that, I knew that it would give me results that I wanted, because it kind of all links in together. You know what I mean?
Massively does,
yeah. But yeah, I was at Sparta until about August 2023, and then I got another job towards East Lothian way. So I was going in a completely different direction to what I was before with my last job. So I moved to a different gym that I'm at the minute, which was very sad, because I really enjoyed Sparta and I was very sad to leave it. And I was so used to that environment as well. Like I'd gotten so used to like the wee community and like seeing the same faces, and I felt so comfortable in that gym. And it was a place where, like, because that's where most of my training took place when I was like going through like certain things and stuff, and that was a place where I went to like after work or on the weekends, where I really wanted to make myself feel better and get myself out of the house and things. That was like a place I would go. So it kind of had like a little, I had a wee thing where I was kind of sad to leave that, because it's like a bit of an end of like a chapter for me, like mentally.
it's like a little family.
Yeah, exactly. I know, I really enjoyed that. But obviously, logistically and with work and things like that, it just made sense. I was going in like a completely different direction. So, but anyway, I've been at the gym that I'm at now for a good few months, and my training's probably at a point where it's still consistent. I'm at a point now where it comes so naturally to me, because I've done it for a couple of years now, but I feel that my confidence has grown like immensely with like training in the gym, and it's more of just part of my lifestyle now and part of my routine, that I don't even think about it. Like I look forward to going to the gym every day, and well, maybe not every day, but after work and things like that. It's just one of those things that it's funny when I look back on before I started, because I think I was never that person that thought that I would go to the gym and actually enjoy it, and it would, and my whole goals, like my goals at the start were for it to be part of my lifestyle, to prove to myself that I can really commit myself to something and reward myself with that and see results from that. And now, like, that's exactly where I'm at with it. So it feels good to know that, you know, I was that person kind of before that didn't have these lifestyle choices and stuff, and now it's something that I can't imagine not doing in my life, you know?
Yeah, I was going to ask you there. Obviously, you were talking about obviously starting your very first kind of workouts at home during lockdown, and not really kind of getting into them, and then you enjoy your obviously you love your workouts and your training now. Um, would obviously like a kind of more negative mindset being the disposition that your mind would have already been in towards them first kind of workouts is what I'm trying to say. They're predisposed to the idea that they're not going to enjoy it and they're not going to get the satisfaction out of it. And especially home workouts are incredibly hard to really feel that you're getting a good thorough workout if you are used to the gym. But then obviously a flip on the positive side is once you understand that any workout's a good workout because it's a healthy for your mind as well. Is that something that you would kind of agree with now?
Definitely, yeah. That's it. I think that before, when I was trying to do home workouts and, you know, workouts from YouTube and 30-minute ab workouts and things like that, when I was trying to do them, the place where I was at the time was that I already had in my mind that I'm probably not going to enjoy it. I already had, like, it doesn't really matter that you don't, it doesn't necessarily matter that I didn't have knowledge of the gym or knowledge of fitness. Like, that's not necessarily what I mean. But I guess if I was coming from a place now where if we were to go into lockdown now, where the gym is part of my life and I enjoy the gym and I enjoy the routine, if I was to then go and do a home workout, I know that I'm going to like it because I see the benefits of it mentally and physically for me. But at that time, when you're going into something like that, when you've not experienced like benefits or you don't understand how you can benefit from it mentally and things like that, because it isn't just like you say about the physical side, of course, like the whole gym experience has been benefited me more mentally than it ever has like physically. So I think, yeah, like you say, when you go into it, you think that, yeah, you're not, you're going in with a mindset that's probably, well, I'm not really going to like it, and then you try it and you go, well, see, I never liked it, so there we go, I'm not going to do it again. I think your audio's cut out. Can't hear.
All today.
That's
I'm
okay.
getting everything side must be on because it's Easter. uh, so I was quite interested as well. Obviously, you started your page and you know things are obviously going well in the gym. But how much does obviously, like you kind of talked on before, having a page, it keeps your accountability right up there as well, I'm assuming. But there obviously is times that it's hard to balance that because not every day is as positive as we'd want it to be. So what are the, you know, what are the, obviously fitness is the kind of main one, but you know, is there anything else that you kind of do to push that positive narrative into your life when maybe you don't feel as positive, feel a little bit down because we are all human with that.
I think I think it's, to be honest, for me about not putting too much pressure on myself. And like I say that in every aspect of my life, as in terms of the Instagram account. At the end of the day, yes, it's for me to post and for me to share things and to sort of track my progress and I guess hold myself accountable for like my commitment to what I'm really trying to focus on and things like that. But also for me, if I make something really strict in my life and like very you know, you have to do this, this, and this, and if you don't, then it's not good. Or if I put like restrictions on things in my life, then I start to lose enjoyment a little bit from them.
Yeah.
You know, like with the Instagram account, like I love posting on it, and it's when it feels right for me to post and when it feels right
Yeah.
for me to share. And I think it's important to be transparent and things like that, because really that's what's relatable and that's what is, happens in life. You have good days and bad days and things like that, but also it's okay to not feel like I have to, share absolutely everything, or
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
feel that I'm forcing like a post out when like there's no need, because really the only person that like is telling myself to do that is myself. So
Hmm.
it's okay, sort of thing. It's the same with the gym as well. It's one of those things that I'm at a stage now where I know that I love it and I know that it benefits me mentally. And if I have a day where I feel like stressed, or I have a day where I just maybe a not so good day, or even ups and downs, whatever's happening in my life, I just know that the gym's going to make me feel better.
Yeah.
And it just clears my mind. And it's the same as like things like getting myself out on a walk, like something as simple as that. That's something I do regularly because it literally regulates my
Hmm.
emotions and like regulates my mind, because I'm quite lucky to live like kind of in the countryside ish. I'm sure a
Hmm.
lot of people do. So that are maybe listening and in the sticks a little bit. So I can get out and get fresh air and go on beautiful walks, and I put my
Yeah.
headphones on. I'll either listen to a podcast, chilled music, or sometimes I just walk and have a think about things, because that clears my mind. And that's something that, it's, I go off of how I'm feeling in terms of like, again, I don't put pressure on myself to do these things. I think you've got to have like balance though
Balance.
with
Yeah.
yeah, like with a routine like the gym, like you've got to have a balance of not putting that pressure too much on yourself to lose the enjoyment and to lose like the why you're sort of doing it. But at the same time, on the other hand, it's important to remember exactly why you're doing it, and that you want it to be a routine, and you've got to be disciplined at the same time. Because if you want to
Hmm.
see, depending on your goals, again, it's like everyone's different. But if your goals are like, to drastically like change your 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 diet, or like you're wanting to see major like physical changes, or you're maybe working towards like a competition, or like something like that, then I get that you've got to have certain things in place, and you've got to be kind of strict at times and disciplined and keep on track of it like that. And I get that, and that works for people, and that's great. For me, if there's something that I am really focused on, like I've never done a competition, but I've considered things like that, but I've never it's never been the right time for me anyway at the minute. But
Yeah.
however, something like that, I get that you're really focused on and you're like working towards a goal. But for me personally, my goals were always just to make it part of my lifestyle and benefit me mentally by simply just going to the gym, whether it meant, this is what it was where I started out anyway, I should say, was to get myself to the gym and to just see how I felt after it. And if I even felt
Yeah.
slightly better after it, then let's go with it and like stick with it. But now it's kind of more in depth, I guess. Like my workouts do have like a bit of a program, and like I do focus more on when I'm at the gym, trying to give it a bit more than just, some days it's okay just to show up. And for me anyway, it's okay if I have like a bad day and I'm not so keen to go. By simply showing up for myself, by actually turning up to the gym, then that's like an achievement for me. Because I'm like, well,
Yeah.
I've made it here. It's better than doing nothing, and it's still progress because it's still a step in the right direction, sort of thing. But yeah, I guess now my workouts are more structured than what they were when I first started, definitely. But that comes with like confidence as well for me, because I didn't
Massively.
know, I had to get used to being in the gym before I could ever make like a program or know what I was doing in that department.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, that just triggered me back into where we were before. I think I got cut off. So do you obviously make your own kind of style workouts the way that you want to train, or do you follow a fitness influencer, fitness coach online or anything, or is it your already self made plan? Sorry, I couldn't get my words
Hmm.
out again there.
Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, so I mean, I do follow a lot of fitness accounts. for inspiration, and a lot of my wellness account, like, and on TikTok as well, like that helps me a lot with videos of workouts and sort of like glute day or bicep workouts and things like that. And I guess over time, I sort of like gathered things that worked for me and things that I
Yeah.
enjoyed, and now I guess my structure is sort of like I would go on like a Monday, I would do like an upper body day, so I could do like lats and buys or something like that. And then on a Tuesday, I would do a lower body day, so I'd focus on quads. And then on a Wednesday, I would go back to upper body and do like shoulders and tries. And then I would maybe rest on a Thursday, and then a Friday or a day on the weekend. I'm like lenient depending on what
Yeah.
is happening in my life.
Yeah.
Then I would do, so basically, yeah, it's like two upper body days, two lower body days is kind of what I go with at the minute.
Yeah.
In terms of my actual workouts within those, I've been thinking recently in the past like week or so that I would quite like to change up my program. It's not like super strict or anything. Like I am quite lenient with it, and I'm constantly watching videos like on TikTok and Instagram to get like inspiration and see how different variations of like workouts can be done and things like that. But I would quite like to have a bit more structure, because I'm at the point now in my sort of journey with the gym that I'm kind of ready for more of a plan. I'm in a place mentally where I know I can stick to like a
Yeah.
plan and
You
still
can really
enjoy it
go
and
at it.
still exactly like still get a lot from it. Because I've overcame like the gaining confidence and the making it my routine and what I'm eating and fueling my body with the right things. Like I've kind of moved past that now, luckily. So I'm at a point where I'm like ready to like take that next step further and like elevate the training a little bit.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Was transitioning between, obviously you talked at the start obviously about the confidence about just going into a gym for the first time and going at the Sparta for the first time. Did you have to go for a kind of transition when obviously you'd moved up to East Lothian and you're going for a gym, or are you in that kind of confident place there that you're like, I own my shit, I can walk in and I can do my thing? Sorry, I don't know, I have no
Definitely.
idea what's going on with my tongue today.
Yeah, and I know what you mean, but definitely I was like, so in terms of the actual workouts, I kind of knew what I was doing by that point, and I was like, I feel
Yeah.
okay about that. Like I could go into like I could go into the gym and like know what I was going to work out, if that makes sense, and like that was fine. But actually starting at that gym, yeah, it was slightly daunting still, because you're still like, it's still normal to get nervous about these things, and
Oh
like
yeah.
you're going into a whole new environment, just like any situation, not even just the gym. Like you start a new job, you join some kind of club or something. I don't know. Like you do new things in your life that you're introduced to new people, and it can be scary. Like there's always an element of like, I don't know any of these people, or like, I mean, obviously I was in an area where like I knew some people that would go to the gym, and like I would see familiar faces, so that was good. But it was still a new environment for me, like, and mentally I was like, I've never used this gym, so like, where's the cable machine? Like, I
Yeah.
was looking around trying to get the bearings for a little bit. Um, so yeah, I guess there was definitely still an element of like nervousness, but in terms of like the actual workouts, like once I was in there and I sort of, after a couple of weeks of going and getting into the routine, I was okay. But I do remember though, I think I posted on one of my stories on the wellness account. I do remember posting something along the lines of that I found that transition time like quite tricky, because
Yeah.
when I left Sparta, it was right before I went away for 3 weeks to go to Australia for my brother's wedding. So I'd left Sparta and I was also starting a new job when I came back from Australia. So for me, like mentally, it was like there was new things happening in my life that I was trying to process.
Wow. Yeah.
So I came back from this trip that was like amazing, and then I was like kind of still in holiday mode a little bit, but also coming back to reality. But my reality was different because I had a new job and a new gym, and I was surrounded by all these new people. So it did take me a few weeks, to be fair, to like get into that routine again. And you know,
Mhm.
even when you've had 3-4 weeks off the gym anyway for like a holiday, it can be quite hard coming back, and that's even with all the other elements staying the same. So when they've all
Yeah.
changed and you're coming back and you're trying to get back into that routine, it's a bit like it was a bit of adjusting. But now I feel totally comfortable and confident in the gym I'm in now. And but I miss Sparta though. But still, I enjoy
Ah.
Sparta. But but yeah, we're used to it now. We're back into our routine and things like that. But
Yeah, I was actually that was actually going to follow into another question. How was Australia? It's somewhere that I've never been. I really want to
it
go.
was
I see myself living there one day, but
yeah, it was absolutely amazing. My brother, he it was for his wedding, so he has been there for like 6-7 years now, and he pretty much met his now wife like as soon as he moved out. He went to do the whole like farm work and traveling and things like that, and then after the first year, he pretty much got his job and he settled and things. So he's been there and he's got a life there now. And he got married. It was October 2023. So we knew it was happening for like a good couple of years. This trip was like in the works, so it was very exciting. But it was amazing. We were in Sydney, like the full 3 weeks. That's where they stay. So we sort of did a lot of touristy things, and we went to the
nice.
Blue Mountains. And I would definitely go back. I would go back for longer than 3 weeks, because 3 weeks was a good amount of time, but it was like my minimum because the journey is obviously like massive.
Mhm.
I mean, it's not too bad to be fair when you actually do it, because you're so excited to go that like you're kind of not bothered about the journey. Like it's not that bad.
Coming
But
home.
I've considered like I've considered moving over myself, to be fair, because it's one of those things. I know it's a big thing, you know, a lot of people do that and move to Australia and start a life over there and things. But because I genuinely have like family there as well, it's definitely crossed my mind, and I'm like, that could be pretty fun. But at the same time, it's a big commitment, and I've also got family here that I'm very close to, and you know, things commitments here as well. So it's not something
Yeah.
I think about lightly.
Not
But
in the
in
immediate
terms of the
future.
actual no, but in terms of the actual trip, it was amazing, and I got to sing my brother's first dance song. So he asked me to sing him and his wife's at their wedding, their first dance, and I loved that. That was really special.
Yeah, that's
Um,
amazing.
yeah.
That's actually going to follow it straight into. You seem to be a step ahead of me with telling before I asked the question about it. My next question was: you've got an absolutely outstanding voice.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
no, I really mean it. As somebody that's trying definitely to learn how to sing, I can tell you, it's just like wow. Have
hmm
you always had a voice like that?
Thank So I actually studied a music degree when I first left high school.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
So when I went through high school, I was always into music and like performing, and that was something I was always kind of good at, and I was like, maybe I should just go with it, because my dad's quite musical, and my family in general like was quite a musical background, so I was always singing in high school and performing and things like that. And then when I got to the end of high school, I was like, I may as well just study it, because I was like, I don't really have anything else I want to study. So I was like,
Yeah.
just go with it. So anyway, I went and studied my music degree, and I did that for 3 years. But that was like performance based. So I was singing a lot. That was like popular music. So it was basically
Yeah.
anything from like the 50s onwards. And it was a lot of band work. So I was like singing in bands and performing. And then we would do like songwriting. And it was honestly like one of the best times. Like I look back on that time of my life, like,
Sounds
and
amazing.
it was amazing. I loved studying that. It was so fun. Made some amazing friends as well that I'm still friends with now. One of them's like doing music full time and stuff like that. So yeah, it was amazing. I've always loved performing. But it's like the nerves are like they never go away.
Yeah,
Like they
mega.
never. Yeah, I mean
That's
even
half the fun of
it's
music.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think as well, like it says a lot, because you get nervous because you care, and like you get
Mhm.
nervous because you want it to go well. So nerves are always good, but in the moment you're like, it's like scary. But I gained a lot of confidence from doing my degree, like with performing, because in high school I was like, I mean, obviously I was so young as well though at the time, but I was really, I struggled with nerves quite a lot, like in high school, especially with like exams and stuff like that. It was
Hmm.
difficult. But then, and then when I studied, I started gaining confidence because you're starting to know a bit more about how you sing and how your voice is. And obviously we had like singing lessons because that was my instrument. So everyone had to have like, your main instrument. So mine was always singing. So we would get singing lessons like 2 3 times a week or something like that. And my singing teacher was amazing. He was like just your biggest fan, like your biggest supporter. Was just the best teacher I could have had at that time.
Yeah.
So and then I came out and I, I graduated in 2020, which was during COVID. So that was really great for a music degree because everything was shut and everything was like the world had stopped. So there was a bit of a period where I wasn't doing it as much in terms of like performing, but I've always I've always done like covers and videos and stuff. That was actually
Yeah.
what started my YouTube channel back when I was in college and I was doing music. I started my YouTube channel to post singing videos and to post covers because I thought, that was back before TikTok was a thing, and also it was
Yeah.
before really YouTube had like properly taken off with like giving people like mega careers. So I was like,
Hmm.
maybe if I post videos, like you never know. So I was
You never
posting like
know.
singing videos. You never know. And then I was always into my YouTube, like my lifestyle videos. I loved watching vlogs and stuff and things like that. So then I started posting more content like that. And the YouTube channel kind of ended up going in that direction. But in terms of like my singing and stuff, it's something I still do and will always do for the rest of my life because now actually I'm probably more confident with it than I used to be as well. So it's just
Mhm.
interesting how as your life goes on and as time goes on and you gain like more experiences in your life and like more knowledge on certain things, you just feel more confident in
Yeah.
areas and aspects of your life. Like even with my music, um, I just feel that I'm at a point now where I probably could perform like easier than I could have done in the past and things like that. So but
It
yeah, I
must be
still
a
love
it must
doing
be a really
video.
good sorry, it must be a really good as you say, mental release for you as well. I find it for me, it's I talk about it on other podcasts every week. I think I've kind of got like gym's always been up here and music's always been kind of like down here, but now I'm kind of paying a bit more attention and taking it a bit more serious and getting some little rewards
Yeah.
back from that. The release is almost the same now, and it's just that extra thing to have in your arsenal for that balance of positive versus negative. Is that something that kind of aligns it with yourself as well?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely. I mean, like you said, it's similar, but I guess the opposite because for me, it was always music was like up here, and then gym was like down. Well, gym was like, let's be real, like on the floor for like years because I never really did it. And then music was always like up there. And then when I started going to the gym, it like started slowly kind of becoming like pretty equal. And that took a lot of time with the gym because music was like up there. But now it's like you say, it's like that sort of release of, and it helps you. It just for me, it's always helped me like process things, and music's like so powerful because music's like basically like a language, I guess, that like everyone
Oh,
speaks, which sounds really cringy, but
massively,
it,
massively, yeah.
you know what I mean? Like everyone, well, maybe not everyone, but I'd say majority of people listen to music, enjoy music, and it doesn't matter what genre that is or what type of music it is. It's able to make you feel something. And music, when you go and see live music, it actually releases endorphins, which is why when you see live music you feel so good because
Mhm.
you actually like there's literally like energy in the air that's like making you feel like that because of the what you're getting from what you're experiencing, if that makes sense. So um that just shows like how powerful it is. So I guess like it makes sense that it helps so many people, whether you just listen to it or if you perform or if you play music or whatever it is. But it's relatable for a lot of people, and And for me, it's always been something that if I feel a certain type of way, that's something I can turn to, and just it
Mhm.
just makes me feel good. Like it just chills me out and helps me process things and stuff.
Yeah.
Songwriting maybe not so much.
I say I love a bit of songwriting. That's my forte. If I was to call myself
Or
anything good, yeah, it's just a like I say, it's just a shame I can't sing, or else I might have actually been able to do something with it by
you've
now.
been singing, you've been doing your singing recently though, your videos and stuff, and they've been
I've been
sounding good
trying,
though.
yeah. It's coming on. It just I think with me, I get really excited before I get too excited about my expectations. It's
Yeah,
not that I'm impatient, but it's you kind of want to have that progress a lot faster than it's coming. And the main thing that I'm
yeah, I
finding
get
with it is consistent progress. Like some days
that.
I
Mm-hmm,
just can't practice in the same way because I'm not at
mm-hmm,
that level yet. And like I say,
mm-hmm.
it's holding on to the positives and just being like, you know what, actually, you'll get it eventually. It's fine. And like you say, it's just for me. Just yeah, I share a little bit, but it's to help me, and it's good to have these little things in your life that are more for yourself. Like you said about your page as well. Obviously, it means a lot to yourself.
Oh, 100%. And I think, like anything in like that you're working towards, that you're working on, like for me, it was like the gym for ages. Everything just takes time, doesn't it? And I feel
Yeah,
like the more you the sooner you sort of know that and accept the fact that like I'm gonna just enjoy the process of this, and I'm just gonna enjoy the fact that I'm learning, and I'm like I'm getting better at it one step at a time, sort of thing. Because that was me with the gym, and it did take me it took lots of time to really get to a point where I feel how I feel now, but I sort of had that reassurance in myself that I will get there, and I will be able to be at a point where I can look back and be like, oh, I've actually come like really far with something, and it's like a massive achievement as well to be able to for yourself to be able to do that. So
yeah. A lot. I think we're quite guilty as well of not giving ourselves a pat on the back. Like you say, when we do achieve really, you know, they might seem minor to yourself, but to other people they could be amazing, and that comes with inspiration. So you know,
exactly.
it's great. Exactly, yeah. It's great to do and to share because when you do and you share, others do. Which is
Exactly.
obviously
Yeah.
incredibly important. Yeah. Is
So do you how long have you been doing like your singing and stuff like that then? Do you
oh
or like
okay.
your songwriting?
Yeah, yeah. So for me, I started playing music. I think I got my first guitar when I was 12. I think 12 or 13. I
Mm-hmm.
got my first electric guitar. Big Nirvana fan back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And self-taught myself on that. Smells Like Teen Spirit was the very first that I learned on the guitar. Got an
Yep.
acoustic. Started playing in bands maybe around about 13 or 14, then started performing um,
Mm-hmm.
small gigs, kind of bad nights and stuff like that. You know, little things, but you know, back in the day when you're 14, you felt like you're a rock star, sort of
Yeah.
thing. And then we actually got I was in a band we were called Kicking the Teeth. God, that was such an awful name. And we yeah, we collaborated on a little album with a load of bands. We had a really musical year at school. There was a load of bands in them, and we made an album. And we, me and it was a five-person band, and I would say probably most of the songwriting in that, even over five instruments, was down with two or three of us. So I've always been that's what I say, kind of writing music, but acoustic wise, when it's me and myself, it's obviously it's just my own music, my own emotions, my own. I'm hoping to possibly, if I get the confidence up, to release one of my own songs later on this month called Clarence.
Oh,
uh,
that's cool.
so yeah, but like I say, it's just the confidence. It's taken that big step, which
Yeah.
brilliantly sets me up for our next question. Is
Uh-huh.
see when you first set up your account and you go into that first post, how nervous were you, or were you at that point that you were just wanting to push into this new kind of lifestyle, and was it quite an easy transition right there, because it's quite hard to post personal stuff.
Yeah. I think I guess with my wellness stuff, it was a little bit more nerve wracking because it was like I felt slightly vulnerable, I guess, making it like
Hmm.
because the whole point is to post about like well-being and lifestyle and like the realities of that and like and but saying that, I always knew that I didn't have to post things I didn't want to post. I didn't have to
Yeah.
put pressure on it like I was before. I think in terms of like back before I did my Instagram account and I used to post on YouTube and stuff, which was a bit more lighter hearted, I guess. It was more like vlogs and highlights of my life and singing videos and stuff like that. I guess when I was posting things like that and it kind of carried through into my Instagram, is that if you're being true to yourself and you're posting something because you love it and because you really enjoy it and you think that it's great, if you post that, then that if other people enjoy it and if other people like it, then that's a bonus. And if people don't, then they don't. I think as long as you're being true to yourself and you're posting things that is obviously depending on if we're talking about lifestyle things, it's a bit of fun. Like it's things that I enjoy. So I guess with my Instagram, when I made it, yeah, I was nervous to make the account a little bit but then I thought, people don't have to follow if they don't want to follow. People don't have to support if they don't want to, and that's absolutely fine. That's totally cool. People will follow that want to, and people will support that want to do that. And if people can relate to it, and if even better, if people can benefit from it or take anything from it, then that's like amazing. Like, so I guess you kind of have to post and do these things like really for yourself and really know the reasons why you're doing it, because then I feel the support and the other things will come, like the how it's supposed to happen, how it's supposed to happen, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think every episode that I do, there's always something that's like the guest says that just instantly hits me, and that's something I'm so guilty of. Obviously on my Instagram, but like the anxiety account is that it does feel forced for me sometimes, and then that balance comes
Mm-hmm.
in and it becomes negative, and that's something that I'm still working
Mm-hmm.
towards. But so just hearing it, hearing you say that, that really resonated with me there. That kind of gave me that little ah, that's actually incredibly true.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thanks for that. That's
Yeah.
a nice little
Yeah.
validation for myself on that. Um,
Yeah.
I know
Definitely.
from us,
Yeah.
I know. Sorry, I interrupted you there. Um,
That's okay. No, no.
I know. I know personally, this is just how I feel about myself, having kind of going on my own new journey. And it's not that I have any resent for anything that's happened, mass resent or displeasure, distaste for anything that's happened in my past massively. But I do feel since I've started this journey, I've really been able to live. And is that something that
Mm.
you would kind of agree with and relate to, that when you do you do take that step and you do take that accountability, you really start to love who you're becoming as well, in a way that I don't think that we haven't loved ourselves previous, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally get what you mean. I think, yeah, 100%. Like, I feel now probably like the best, well, definitely the best that I've ever felt in like my life in terms of like where I'm at, how I feel mentally, my lifestyle choices, my routine. Like, I do things for myself now that I maybe wouldn't have done before. So, for example, I love spending time on my own, and like there's a balance of like spending time on your own and be. I'm such a social butterfly as well. Like I love seeing my friends and like going for coffee with friends, and I love doing that. But before, maybe like a couple of years ago, I would have never really seen the value or like the benefit of going out for a coffee on my own and like taking myself out for the day, because that's what that's a form of self-love and self-appreciation and self-confidence, and these things do benefit you and like how you feel like within yourself, I think, anyway. So things like now I'll go for coffee myself. Like I'll go to the gym, and pretty much most times on the weekend, I'll spend at least one of those days completely on my own doing something, whether that's browsing around some shops or whether it's going out, sometimes even for lunch on my own, like doing things like that that give me that independence that I never could have really done before, and I never saw the value of doing things like that. But again, it's about balance, like having that balance of that time on your own and that independence, and also, you know, being social, and because I get so much from my friends and socializing with my family and my friends. Like, I love doing that as well, and I always have. But I think it's important to see the value of, you know, independence, like I say, doing things on your own
Yeah.
for yourself, because it just makes you feel really good, and it's something that I do now without even thinking. Like, I yeah, it's just, yeah,
Yeah, it's
I think it's
it's funny
important
as
to
you
do
say that
things like
you do things without even thinking now. It is, I find in some ways for myself now that it's almost second nature to always do the positive thing first, or to always, that seems to be in the forefront. I don't know if it's like a protection bubble comes up almost as, don't do that because it may
that.
lead to that. So the obvious is there. But for me personally, I always think that, you know, you could pick out the good apple or the bad apple just by looking at it, although they might look exactly the same. Just for having that little bit of experience now, you can, you know, you we talked about
Exactly.
being predisposed with negative energy, but it's almost like being predisposed with positive energy.
Exactly. I think it's like, yeah, it's just choices that we make of how, like, for me, it's about how do I want to spend my time? How do I want to, like, is this going to benefit me? And like, is it going to, like, I'm basically just at a point where I put myself first, I guess, like, in my life. Like, I
Yeah.
put myself, like, and I don't mean that like selfishly. I mean that in a way that, like, I really care about, like, how something's going to make me feel, or how something's going to benefit me. And if it doesn't benefit me or doesn't serve me, then I'll, you know, do the other thing that I know feels good, or things like sticking to, like, I know routine, and getting enough sleep and eating the right things and going to the gym, and then having alone time, but then also a balance of socializing. Like, I know that all these things benefit me and make me feel great and make me feel like I'm where I'm meant to be in my life, and that I'm making the right choices for myself, and things like that. So, you know, now, of course, I'm going to, you know, head in that direction. But before, a couple of years ago, maybe, before I made these choices and I was in this routine in my life, and before I, could see the benefits mentally of, like, the gym and focusing on something, I wouldn't have been in that position then, and I wouldn't have, because I hadn't
Mhm.
experienced, like, what it feels like to do that, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I totally agree, and I know where you're coming from with that. It's something just to go back to when I lost my chain of thought. So this happens a lot with my brain. I'll go back 20 minutes behind and then remember where I was. I really like the way you described, obviously, when you spoke about endorphins before, and being in music, and obviously the reason why you feel so good is because there's all this positive energy, and it's something that, you know, five years ago for me, I was never into the big kind of, I don't want to say spiritual, but you know how good energy can actually really make you feel, and spending time with other people with good energy really actually makes you feel as well. And you know, I guess the way of asking that is, obviously, do you feel that, obviously, to try and keep this positivity up as much as the time, just to help others and as much as yourself?
Yeah, I think, like you said, it's different things in life bring different energy, and
Mhm.
that can be positive or that could be negative, and certain choices in your life can also, um, bring bad energy, or good energy, depending on what they may be, you know. Um, I think that also comes with who and what you surround yourself with in your life as well. Like, it all kind of ties in. Like, um, I'm very lucky to have my family and my friends surround me in, like, my small circle that I know I don't have a social battery for. Like, it, that doesn't exist. I could spend all my time with, like, these people. They make me feel good when I spend time with them. I come away feeling like, you know, that good about myself, and that I've had fun, and that I enjoy their company, and like, we bounce off each other and things. And that's the sort of things that the kind of choices and the kind of, like, energy that you want to surround yourself in, like, in your life. And I guess the point is, if there's things in your life that don't make you feel like that, or don't serve you with that same feeling, then, you know, you can choose to not surround yourself with that, or you can choose not to have that in your life, because yeah, I think as soon as you become aware of what is going to benefit you in your life, then you start to make choices that become, some can be difficult or some can be
Yeah.
some can be okay, but in the long run, you're putting yourself first, and you're thinking about you and your life and how you feel. And I think it all kind of ties in with everything that we're saying about, how you feel mentally and making the right
Yeah.
choices, and knowing that if I'm feeling a certain type of way, I know I can take myself out on a walk and clear my mind and feel great, or I know I can go to the gym, or I know I can, go out myself for a coffee and just sit and have a breather, things like that.
Yeah, it's I think it maybe be about a month ago I spoke about in a podcast. It's obviously the importance for coping mechanisms, because we often don't think that most of the things that we actually do is just a coping mechanism for how life can get. I was sorry, I lost myself again there. Are it's sorry, it's really bad today. My brain fog. Have you got any? Is there any kind of future aspirations or anything that you're looking forward to in the future? Maybe trying anything new, or staying grounded where you are just now, and just pushing on with the kind of positive experiences that you've gained so far, and push on with them.
I think I have I'm very happy with my sort of routine that I have at the minute with my work and gym and my social life and things like that. I'm very happy where I'm at. Obviously, there's things that I have in my head that I can see for myself in the future. It's just I very much am the kind of person that I enjoy where I'm at. Like, I try and enjoy
Mhm.
exactly where I am in my life and not worry too much about things that may bring me major fear, because I'm thinking how's
Yeah.
this going to work out, or what am I going to do with this or whatever. But I guess, yeah, I don't know. There's things I've thought about, like we're talking about Australia. I've thought about, obviously, potentially, I'm like, could I ever live in Australia? But then I'm like, it is the other side of the world, and I have my family, my friends here, and there's all these things that are going through my head. But then, there's the other side of it, that there's kind of, other than my family and friends, I'm like, I could move, because I've not got major commitments here right now, and all these things kind of go through my head. But regardless of the whole Australia topic, I would definitely like to travel a bit more in the next few years, and
Mhm.
even if it is holidays or whether it's going away myself, I would love to do a solo trip somewhere. It's I've thought about that for a while, and I know that it could be quite scary. At the time, I'd probably be like, "Oh my god, what am I doing?" But even if it's just a short trip and somewhere in Europe that's not too far away, where I don't feel really disconnected from everything and everyone. Obviously, everything could be planned out properly and blah blah blah. But I've thought about doing a little solo trip, because I think that would be I'm at a point now. If you'd asked me to do that 3 years ago, I would be like, absolutely not. Um, could not think of anything worse. But now I'm at a point where that actually appeals to me, and I'm like, that could be so fun and so fulfilling to go do a whole trip on your own, and just on your own agenda, see things that you want to see, and kind of prove to myself again. It's that whole thing of proving to myself that I could actually do that, because I think that would be an achievement for me anyway.
Yeah.
So I guess things like that are on the in my mind. But
It's great that you say that, because like you said, 3 years ago you would maybe think something like no chance there, but that just validates, and it really does prove the confidence that you yourself have given yourself, through making these changes and sticking to them, and staying in that positive mindset, because it is so easy at times to fall back into the negatives, and then to cast out, and you know exactly what I'm on about there. So no, it's really good to hear such a positive outlook on just about anything, that a lot of people could look at things so negatively.
yeah, I think that's it. I
And
think it's definitely. I, I think
sorry, on
sorry.
you
I think
go.
I think it's not easy to. It's kind of almost impossible to be positive absolutely 100% all the time. Like that's, we're human. Like we always think of that, we look at the full picture, and sometimes we can always see positives and negatives to every situation. But I think for me, I've always tried to be like above it, everything else in my life. I've always tried to look at things in a way that's like, right, well, what's the plus side? What's good about this? Like what can I take from this? And also, everything that happens in your life, whether it is positive or negative, is something that you can learn from, and it's something that you
Yeah.
can take so much from, and it will actually make you grow into like and learn from your experiences, because something can feel so horrible at the time, and can feel like you can't see how it's going to get better, or you're going to feel this way for forever and things like that, and you feel like you're the only person in the world that feels the way that you feel, and it just can be, things can be difficult, and that can be across anything in life. But I think it's about pushing through that and then learning from it and learning from
Mhm.
what you can take from that, and it will make you grow as a person like hugely, and it'll benefit you in the long run, even if it doesn't feel like it at the time, like it really does.
Yeah, I was actually, well, I was gonna ask there, if you were to have a message for anybody, feeling negative and going for time, what would you do? But I think you just summed that up absolutely, very eloquently.
Yeah, I guess that's it really. It's like people have loads different things going on in their lives, and that's such a broad statement. But it can relate to so many different things, and when you feel, for me anyway, I just know that having, even if I didn't feel like it at the time, I just knew that pushing myself through to having a focus on something and trying to make my outlook slightly more positive, in the sense of like, okay, it might feel like this now, but I know that in time I will push through whatever I'm feeling, and with all these other aspects of my life that can help me, like my focus on the gym and all these other things, and my friends around me to support me and my family and things, over time it starts to feel that little bit easier. And there's ups and downs with things in life, like whatever it is that you're experiencing, but you get to a point where you look back and you're like, oh, now I actually have more ups than downs, and I've not had a down in a while. And then, you might get a little down point, but then you're like, but it's okay because I've not had one in like ages. And then you'll get to a point where you look back and you just pretty much feel good most of the time, if not 100% of the time. And you're like, wow, is that me like actually almost through whatever this is? Like, okay.
No, no, so true. So true. Is there anything else that you'd specifically like to talk about today, on the episode while we're on air?
I guess it's just to summarize, like, um, with the whole like gym and wellness thing, is that coming from someone that knew nothing about the gym and didn't think that they would ever be like a gym person and get enjoyment from it and even see benefits, like even the idea of seeing any changes like physically was like, that was like a world away from where I started anyway. Like if you're in a position where you feel like that, I guess go for it, throw yourself into something,
Yeah.
and really try and focus on it, because you will surprise yourself at. And also something important to mention that's came to my mind is that the more you know about something, like the more knowledge you have and the more experience of it, and the more you've done something, if that makes sense, the more you will enjoy it. With the whole gym thing, I now feel that I enjoy it 10 times more because I can see the benefits of it, and I can see how it benefits my life. And that for me is like only one of the reasons that, I stick to it and I go with it and I follow
Mhm.
through with it, because it makes me feel great. And it's not for everyone. I'm not saying that people will try the gym and it'll like change their life or whatever, and that they'll, everyone's different and it might not be for everyone, and that's absolutely fine. But I was actually that person that thought that it would never be for me, and
Mhm.
then actually now it's benefited me, and I mean in terms of like mentally as well, it's benefited me like massively. So it's something that takes commitment, and it does take a bit of discipline, and it takes routine, and it takes time to really build on, but it's definitely worth it. And uh, it's just it's just about focusing on something and putting your mind on something and proving to yourself that you can do. I genuinely believe like you can do so much in life if you really focus on it and like put your mind to it, and you can achieve so much, and you'll see benefits of that of anything in life. So
Yeah, 100% agree with all that. Which is pretty much what I've agreed with ever since we've started this episode. It's been brilliant to talk to you. Let me say that for the start. You've actually, like I said a little bit earlier, there's a lot of relation in what you're saying that I can feel. Sorry, just from talking to you, and it's very positive. My only thing would just to say, please keep on doing what you're doing, because it will be helping people. It will be changing people, and these tiny little changes that people can adapt into their lives. And the world needs more people like you and me. So that's what I'm trying to say in a weird way.
No, I've really enjoyed being on the podcast, so thank you for having me, and I've really enjoyed the
Great.
chat and stuff. And I think we've spoken about really interesting and important things that can benefit a lot of people, like you say.
Yeah.
So I've really enjoyed it.
Well, you're welcome back on whatsoever, and a lot of positivity. So again, thank you so much for giving me a bit of your time today on Easter. We've now ran out of sun,
I know. Mine's got a
unfortunately.
while.
But no, again, just thank you so much for coming on the show, Miriam, and giving me, guys. It was very important. Obviously, if you want to go check out Miriam's wellness page, it's across on Instagram as Wellness by Miriam. I'm obviously going to put the link in the description of this episode once it's live on Spotify later on. Miriam, is there any kind of closing words that you'd like to say to anybody?
I guess just. Well, I don't know. Enjoy your Easter. Thank you for having me on. Well, enjoy the rest of your Easter. I suppose by the time you'll listen to this, it will have already been Easter. But yeah, no, I've really enjoyed our chat and stuff, and I think that we've covered a lot of really, really interesting, important things. So
Excellent,
yeah, really
excellent.
enjoyed it.
Right. I'm so glad you enjoyed yourself, guys. I've enjoyed this episode. It's been Miriam Wells and your host Andrew Willix with the Borderline Podcast. Good night. There we go. Wasn't so scary, was